Good evening. Welcome to Patiently Waiting for Nothing, the podcast. This is Shemsu-t, and we are delighted to be joining you again for season 4 of our podcast. You are really in for a treat as we continue the conversation we left off with in the spring with our brother Samir Ali. Now, as you may recall, he was giving us some really deep information about how to survive, create, and generate wonderful relationships. Now, mind you, this was all about the 19 behavior codes for relationship compatibility. So, if you want to go and get your notes, and I sure hope you were taking some, you might want to go and do that now because this show is going to be all about looking at each one of the components and determining how we can find ourselves and our mate in those answers. All right. Brother Ali, Samir, are you here?
I am here. I am here.
Welcome.
Mushim suit. How are you?
Oh, I am wonderful. It's been a minute, huh?
I know. Yeah. Actually, probably about 61 seconds.
At least that, right?
At least that. Yeah, a minute and then some.
It
Okay.
is. Well,
Right. Yeah.
I like to take the summers off, so that we can be outside and not sitting at a desk, and you know what I mean. You just be free up. Not that you have to do that, but it frees you up in case you want to do that.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Everything in moderation. Because
Everything in moderation.
the only thing about doing nothing that I don't like is when it's over.
I know people that have a very difficult time doing nothing. And I say,
Right,
please come sit with me. I will show you how that is done.
right. Because when you are doing nothing and it's over, then you have to do something.
And now you like, well, I wish I could be doing
Right.
nothing.
I wish I could be doing nothing. See? So you need the nothing with the something.
That's the balance. Yes,
Right.
absolutely. So now you have some really great information for us. Can you start
Hmm.
off first by at least running through the 19 behavior codes to, just kind of refamiliar or get people more familiar with what we're talking about for those that were with us before and those who are new?
Sure. So there are 19 aspects that make up your personality. Um, and this is not etched in stone, but this is my own observation. So take it how you want, grain of salt or whatever. But you try it and see for yourself. So if we were to start with our zodiac sign, we would have to start with our rising sign at the top because that is by many one school of thought considered to be your soul's purpose. Um, which would explain why a lot of people don't know their rising sign
Mm.
because you can't see your soul, just like a lot of people don't know their rising sign. It's almost like it's something you can't see. Not that it's knowledge of the unseen, but you can't see it. So that's at the head. And then you have, of course, everybody loves talking about their sun sign, the month you were born, or the day of the month, and what sign you are because it fell on that particular sign. And so, many years people go around, proud of that sun sign, and they think that everything that they do, from how they dress to how they eat to how they speak, how they talk, the way they crack jokes, the way they learn, the type of knowledge that they, have, is all related to this one sun sign. And that's just a very limited view of who you are. So, the 19 aspects of your personality are the 19 aspects of your ego.
Mm. Oh, now we're talking ego. Now, see, okay, you went from talking about the soul to talking about the ego. Got
Right. And so your soul has a purpose, but each one of these aspects, so your rising sign, your sun sign, your moon, your Venus, your Mercury, your Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, your Pluto, your Lilith, your ash node, and then you have your life path number, you have your Enneagram, you have the day that you were born, okay? You have your blood type, all right? Um, and so, and like I say, you start with your rising sign. You have your Chinese sign, and you have your primal sign, the primal zodiac. You have primal sign, and then you have your destiny cards. And so, each one of these aspects, whether your life path is a one or two or five, seven, nine, whatever, your Enneagram is one of the nine personality traits. Your blood type is one of the four blood type personalities. Um, and whatever's in your chart, from the 12 rising signs and the zodiac, and then each of any of the 12 signs, depending upon which planet it's in, they call them houses. All of these are books. These are the books that you learn from and which you're going to experience in this life.
so each of the components that you listed, each one is an individual book.
It's an individual book, and it's like an encyclopedia with a letter, and
Mm.
they try to include everything in that encyclopedia from that letter for you to learn from.
Mm.
So each one of these, so your, what is, do you know your rising sign?
My rising sign. I do know my rising sign. I think it's Scorpio.
Scorpio rising. So your soul's purpose in Scorpio rising, which is also mine, is to turn darkness into light, which would explain why you have Master Force,
Yes.
because you are helping so many people to come out of the darkness, go into the darkness, and then come back out of the darkness. And the darkness is no longer there. It has been turned into light. And you are doing this because this is something you have done inside yourself. So you're helping others to do the same thing.
Mm.
So your book in your rising sign was Scorpio.
So does
So
that mean I need to study Scorpio?
no,
Okay.
that means that you need to observe Scorpio.
Gotcha. Okay.
The book is revealing itself to you.
Yes. Okay.
So you need to be present to absorb what is happening, because your life course, so like they say, your life path, so your life path is going to cause all of your books to reveal themselves.
Man, so you telling me that when they ask us what do we want to be when we grow up, we're answering the wrong question?
Possibly, sometimes we might get it right, but we are only answering that question based on what we think the occupations are in existence.
This is true. Because
So
there
we're
was
not
no life coach available when they asked me that in sixth grade.
right. So we have worldly classrooms of how to keep the machine going,
Yes.
but we don't have spiritual, mental, and existing classes for life in itself for you to understand why you're here when you're here. So everything is art.
Mm-hmm.
So when God created this universe, God created a giant picture of living art.
That keeps evolving. It
Now,
continues to
in
create itself. Oh, I love that. Okay, I'm sorry.
in every moment, nothing in the picture as it is moving is ever out of place.
That's why we say it's all in divine order, right?
So even all the way out to the far reaches of the universe, with all of the other galaxies, because our solar system was created like 4 billion years from after the Milky Way was created. So there are constant explosions happening in new solar systems, new galaxies, and new universes are being created.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that in the universe or the galaxies, whatever, solar system, all the coloration, the movement of the planets and other solar systems and other stars, a star dying, an explosion happening, and new planets forming, all the way down to the creatures that are crawling inside the earth on this planet is all part of that big picture that's never out of place,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what's happening. Even a car accident or a plane crash or somebody dropping something or breaking something was part of that art.
But you just sparked a question for me because animals don't need to know or observe their different ego aspects to know themselves. Why is it important for us to do that?
Everything was created to serve mankind. So the cats keep the rats and the mice down,
And I'm so grateful for that.
right?
Right.
The cats think that they're arrogant until the dog comes around.
Mm-hmm.
The dog is loyal and to mankind and helps man to protect man or to hunt. The snakes keep the rodents down. The birds that fly in the air of prey keep the snakes down. The goats and the livestock, and they eat the weeds, so the weeds don't run rampant. The chickens eat insects, and so certain insects don't run rampant. So everything has its place for in the balance of the ecosystem.
I can see that. So they don't have to study themselves to know themselves. They actually serve in who they are just by being themselves.
Their purpose is already predestined and preordained with a singular occupation.
Mm-hmm.
We have a choice and we can have multiple purposes. So a human being can be a parent and a school teacher, and you can be a member of your church. You can be part of a volunteer program. You can be the babysitter for your next door neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
And see, these are the things that animals in nature, they can't occupy those spaces.
Got it.
So for us, we believe in this is just the prelude to a greater existence. And this is your testing ground. We're all in class. So you got 7 days of the week
Mm-hmm.
and you have seven chakras. So the number seven rules a particular area in this world. The seven known chakras, the 7 days of the week, the seven colors of the rainbow, um, the seven emotions. And so you have these 19 books in which your course is already set for you. So when you're born, You're born of a certain race or ethnicity, whatever, at a certain year and time in the world, and you're born with a purpose and to a certain family, and all of your experiences are going to start opening up these books that have been placed inside of you
I can hear
because
that. Mm.
you're going to witness your reaction to everything that happens, good or bad, and how it made you feel, how it made you think, and what you got from it, and how it was constantly changing you and molding you to get to a certain point in your life.
Mm.
So if you have Capricorn in your sun, that's a book. Your outer personality is your sun sign. So there are a lot of experiences that are going to happen to you in the book of your outer personality, which for you is Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
So the way people receive you, what they're thinking, or what happens when they look at you, your physical appearance, how you dress, the sound of your voice, your personality, your smile. That's all your outward personality, your Capricorn. You change your hair from blue one day and then orange another day.
Not Capricorns.
Or is it gold one day and then red another?
Or whatever. Really?
I'm just saying, so that's all part of one of your books that's expressing itself.
Mm-hmm.
So your 19 aspects are books, and life opens up those books, and you have to pay attention to that classroom. And again, everything comes back to the classroom of you, because we're here to learn about us,
Ourselves. Mm-hmm.
ourselves, right? And then what we learn, even what we learn about interacting with our family or other people, whether they're in our family or their friends or neighbors or whatever, or co-workers, ultimately we're still learning about us, even as we're learning about them, whether it's something we like about them or not. We're learning about ourselves
Mm-hmm.
in the living art. So we learn all these books, we study all these books, and we study philosophy, we study Alan Watts, we study all the great poets, we study the historians, we study all the scientists, the mathematicians. We're studying all these people who were revealing their books to the world. I always like to use certain people like Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was revealing his books to the world. He wasn't just a martial artist, he was also a philosopher.
Yes, he was.
He was also an actor. He was also someone who was very sincere and compassionate. So he had reached studying the knowledge that was in his books. What chapter in your book are you in? When you're a child, you don't know nothing about your books, but you're learning. You're just looking at the cover. You're stacking the books on top of them because you think they're toys.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you get older, you start getting an idea of what kind of food you do and don't like. You know how what how you feel when you get ready to go to school every day, or how you feel during the summer, or when you're around family or certain family members. Now you're getting into opening up the pages of your book. And then as you age and progress, you get deeper and deeper into the chapters.
I like what I'm hearing. I guess the thing that's right there for me is many of us are not taught to study ourselves. Matter of fact, we are so distracted from ourselves that we think every time something happens that it's somebody else's problem to solve or look at or observe. We don't even check ourselves.
No, we don't. This is why it's so many different aspects in a book. Your book is not just one book all the way through and through. You got 12 books, and out of the 12 books, you may have been given all 12 for the zodiac. You got 9 personality types. You only get one. You got a life path number. You only get one. So you only need one book from the life path. You need one book from the Enneagram. You need one destiny card. You need one Chinese and one primal. And you need one blood type book. But then you have your 12 zodiac books, and you can get 13 of those zodiac books because of your rising sign.
Mm.
And some of the books are repeating themselves, but because that same book, let's just say Scorpio, may be in a different aspect. So you may have Scorpio in your sun sign or your rising, but the book of Scorpio reads it's a whole nother set of knowledge of Scorpio if you had it in your Jupiter or your Saturn or your moon. It lends a different quality, a different aspect. And so when you set out on your journey, those books are start going to start opening up based on what's going to happen to you. Everything from your environment to the food you eat, what you see with your eyes, what you hear, the music, the school you went to, the friends you had growing up. All of these are activating your books constantly, every moment. Even when you sleep, your books are still teaching you.
Wow. Yeah, because
Therefore, a
that's what
lot
our
of people,
dreams are, right? That's what our
that's what
dreams
I was just going to say that. You
are.
said it. Yes.
Wow, that's pretty tight.
Because
Okay.
you know, when the older you get and the more you experience and the further you get in those books, the different your dreams are. What does a child dream about versus a teenager compared to an adult, compared to somebody in their older years?
It's completely different, that's for sure.
Completely different because you have gone further and further in your book
Hmm.
and all of your books for that matter. Yeah. You respond to things, you comprehend things, and you release things when you interchangeably, when you interact with other people based on the type of book you have, where the book is in your chart, and how far you've gone in that book, in that part of your chart.
That's why you can see some people making progress because they really do study themselves before they move forward, as compared to people who seem to struggle through and never stop to look and see if there's some information they can gather before they move, right?
Right. Some people are more in tune with the inside of themselves. Like they have conversations with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So like self consultation, which is something that we should all practice.
Instead of thinking people are crazy because they talking to themselves, right?
Well, I prefer expert advice, so I have to talk to myself. That's a must.
Right.
I want the best professional advice. I'm gonna have a full fledged, full blown conversation with me
I'm totally with you on that.
because I'm talking to the books that have been placed in me.
Mm-hmm.
And those books have been given to me by the divine character.
Okay.
So when you get into your books good enough, you can have a different level. Like there's a level of being in your book where you see things and you recognize certain behavior or where someone is at. Cause like someone can get hurt in a situation. Let's say your best friend stole something from you, or your grandchild lied to you, or you know, your cousin went and tried to holler at your girlfriend behind your back, whatever. It's just I'm just throwing stuff out there. You are only going to react and respond to that based on the type of book that you have in you that would deal with that kind of pain and how far you are in those books.
So the more depth you have in the books, it sounds like it advances your maturity and your wisdom
Exactly.
about yourself.
About yourself,
Mm.
which is getting to the whole purpose as to why you're here. And your purpose is not like you reach a destination. The path itself is part of the purpose. There's no end to it. The only time it ends is where you transition your purpose from the purpose here to another purpose that you had to go to. But that was part of your purpose to go through this purpose to get to that purpose.
Mm.
So all this is preparation for when you leave. But you had to be somewhere else before you came here, and you were prepared to come here. Then you came here when you did, and now that you're here, you're preparing for what your other purpose is while you're here. And then when that purpose is complete, all of that you experience and finding your purpose or fulfilling your purpose here is preparing you for your purpose there.
Wow.
It's ongoing. It doesn't stop. It's not you die, that's it. We cry, we love you, you always be in our hearts, you know. No, you had a purpose before you came here. You don't know anything about it.
Well, I was recently looking at something that said that when, first of all, that everybody does not choose to come to the planet Earth because the Earth School is one of the most challenging schools in the galaxy.
Uh-huh.
And so everybody, everyone who's doing soul work, they don't all say, let's go to Earth. Sometimes they say, no, we're going to bypass that and go on over here to Copernicus or whatever. But anyway, that makes sense because most of us do have challenging lives here.
Yeah. Um, there's a lot of information on, how we got here, why we came, did we choose it, did we not choose it? That's part of the knowledge of the unseen. And some of that stuff is so personal and powerful, it can't be revealed on a common level
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
because
that's right. Mm-hmm.
knowledge of that could interfere with the work that you need to do.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it's not common. You don't hear it being passed down, but it's a reason. It's just like, do you know how many people would spend their time focusing on breathing if we could see air?
Mm. Mm-hmm. If
You'll
we
be in the mirror watching it go in and out of your
Right. I was gonna
nostrils.
say
You'll
if we
be
could see air and add
right.
to it and
Yeah.
add different temperatures to it. But we actually
Right.
can't do that if we attach our imagination to it.
So right. And if you could see air, I mean, you'd be watching air go in and out of your pet dog
Mm-hmm.
every time somebody smoke,
Mm-hmm.
when you run, when you're tired, when you sleep. We would be spending so much time watching air. So this is why air has to be unseen because we would be distracted. So if we chose to be here and did we come to Earth or did we go to another galaxy where another planet where human beings exist to go? None of us will know that
Until we
until
finish here. Yeah.
until it happens to you or it's revealed to you. And for very good reasons, it's good that you don't know that stuff. You can't, necessarily prove it, but then you can't not prove it either. So it would be a major distraction.
Well, that's the same way we do as parents with our children. We don't tell our children, oh, we making this money so that we can pay rent. Sit down here and watch me write this check. Let me make sure the lights are on. No, don't ask me. We don't even involve our children in our finances like that. Why? Because it's not necessary. We actually think that it would distract them from what they should be doing at their young ages instead of being.
But that's survival knowledge. So you got to put everything in its proper place.
Mm-hmm.
So some things that we don't because we're too busy mislabeling things. So we think that talking about money is a grown folks thing. But
That's
when you have children, you got to budget your finance for those kids. So shouldn't kids understand certain things? But
Well, they should
when it's
understand how,
time,
that's right. They should understand how
yeah,
money works, but not necessarily how much everything costs and how,
right,
yeah.
yeah, in
And,
moderation. So you gotta,
hmm
if you got a child, like they said, they may stack the books on top of each other because they think that they're toys. But then the older you get, you start turning the pages. So you have to open up those books to those kids on certain topics like money or intimacy at certain times in moderation.
yes.
And you have to be clever. So when you're young, you got to make it into a game so they can want to learn about it.
hmm
And then the older they get, then the more serious and the less gamey it becomes.
I think that's what the challenge is for BIPOC people, Black, Indigenous people of color, is that we literally are exposed to the harsh realities of life at such an early age that it seems heavy
Well,
before we even know we have these books that could tell us something.
here's the thing. One, anybody can experience trauma or poverty. I
Yeah,
think about the people in Lebanon and Beirut. Those kids are
I'm
over
talking about
there
them too. That's right.
hearing bombs and
That's
stuff
right.
like that.
Yeah,
And then even if you spoke about the Holocaust, the Ashkenazi Jews, they were gas chambered, and running for their lives. They were living in tunnels underground.
that's right.
Our people had experienced slavery and then, the racism. The
hmm
Chinese were oppressed by the Japanese.
That's right.
There are a lot of people who experience trauma, irregardless of an ethnicity or blood or skin type.
hmm
You know what I mean? So it's ongoing. They have full fledged open slavery in some certain parts of Africa
Yes.
and Arabia, and then over in China, they're like oppressing Muslims over there in
And
China
we're
for no
talking about
reason.
right now today.
Yes, today, right now, in this
Yes.
day and age, with all this liberation and
Yes.
technology.
hmm
So, um, for me, it's hard to understand that kind of information because I don't think you know our people chose to be enslaved or pregnant women were had chose to have their babies ripped out of their bellies. I don't think the Jews chose to die in gas chamber. I don't believe that in that part of it. It's hard to grasp that. I don't think women chose to be raped. I don't think that uh, boys chose to be molested, or some people were built that wasn't considered to be well endowed, or women were built that weren't like the modern women who have certain shapes and they have to go through that, or they weren't beautiful. So for me, like I say, it could be that that's true information, could not be, but it's hard to when you weigh it out like that. But I
Well,
don't think
if you
I
look
don't think hurt is or trauma is not indicative to. I mean, nobody's immune. It can happen to anybody.
yeah, and that's that. I think that though that's what becomes part of the catalyst for our growth, though, because without those things, I know for myself, without the challenges that I faced at a young age, that's what led me into the question of why am I here.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
almost seems like those challenges, really make us start to look like, what is the purpose? Why would I go through all this pain and
right.
misery? Why? So I think that it is part of the equation. It's not the only reason, but it's part of it.
Yeah, so like they say in the gym, no pain, no gain. And sometimes these painful experiences wake you up to other realities inside of you,
Yes.
you know. So who knows why, but there was gain from that pain, and no pain, no gain in life, not just in the gym, but in life,
Mm-hmm.
But whether it was emotional pain, embarrassing pain, or physical pain, mental or spiritual pain, you gain something from it. It either sets you on a different course of being focused, or it caused you to rearrange some things in your life, which all it did was cause you to go deeper into your books that you were given.
Yes. 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 So now let's
And
get back to these. What? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, so when you got deeper into the books, you got deeper into the reality of why you're here and
Yes.
getting to know you more. So you have to know you to know why you're here. And people want to do it the opposite. They want to know why they're here and they don't know themselves.
Okay, so that's what they mean by being ass backwards.
Right.
I'm just saying.
So the first purpose that you have to do is to know you. Then you'll know why you're here. But how you gonna know? Because your purpose is tied in self-knowledge. It's not you find out your purpose and then you discover self-knowledge. No, you have to discover self and then your purpose reveals itself.
Okay. So now we did the rising sign, which tells us our purpose, right?
Your
Or
soul's purpose,
our
right? The
soul's
work, yeah, the work that just so, and then that's a whole nother reality in itself because you think about it. So let's just take Scorpio rising, which it says that rising Scorpio is to turn darkness into light. So you imagine how much darkness you have to have in yourself or what you have to experience before you start being able or you're powerful enough or mature enough to start turning that darkness that has accumulated in you into light.
I do have some idea, yeah.
Yeah. Right. So you think about when you say something like that, that one book is a journey and a whole world of experiences in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
So what your communication is in your Mercury. How many people you going to communicate with, how you going to communicate with them, what different levels of communication are you going to learn, your whole communication, your book of communication, whatever house it's in, it's totally different in itself. Some people you gonna butt heads with, some people gonna get you. They just gonna click with you automatically. That's a whole book of a reality all by itself. And then all of them are connected. None of them are disconnected. So all 19 are connected. So your life path, your soul's purpose, all of your what's in your chart, your Chinese sign, your primal, your blood type, all of that is one working unit. You are a library that exists on earth.
Yeah. And I just want to let people know who are listening that they really can, and I know that you have a rebuttal on this, but they can go to cafeastrology.com and you can put your information in and get your natal chart. So when he's talking about where's your Mercury in your chart, you'll be able to find that and follow along a little bit. Now, but your rebuttal is what to Cafe Astrology?
No rebuttal. It's just that for me, my experience has been because I do know my rising sign with accuracy that whenever I go to any chart or site that tells you it can provide your natal chart to you, when you put the time you were born in, it throws the chart off. It's not accurate. So you have to not have the box checked of what time you were born. Leave that blank and don't check that box. If you want an accurate reading, you have to find out your soul, your rising sign based on the time you were born. They have a chart online that you can go to that actually provides that. And it's one chart that anybody can copy and paste or download onto their phone or their computer. Um, and let me find for you. Because I sent that chart to you before. Do you still have it?
Which one?
The one that tells you your rising
Oh, I do.
sign?
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what what is
Oh, you want me to actually go find it? Is that what
no, don't do that. I would never have you do something like
you?
that. Never in a million years. Like
I'm
why
just
would
saying that
I
I have to go comb through some stuff, but I'm sure I can find it.
I have it, but the thing is, and I apologize, I don't have the link in which I got it from. I just copied the image and downloaded it to my phone. So, but it has this colorful chart and it works on an angle and it has the time that you were born on the left. The birth time is what it's called. And then all of the 12 zodiacs are across the top as your sun signs. So you pick the time and you go across until you get to your sign, and each little box is different, and it's going to tell you what your rising sign is based on what your sun sign is and the time you were born, and then you'll find out your rising sign that way. So,
So you were talking about Neptune, Sagittarius is in my Mercury. So what does that say? How would I communicate? If that's a lot of communication,
well,
because Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, right? So
ruled
that
by Jupiter, and it's a fire sign, and Sagittarius, they're very creative and very expressive. And
mm-hmm.
so um, I'm not going to sit here and say I know everything about what Sagittarius and Mercury is, but you can Google that, look it up, and then search more than one site and see it. You know, when they start saying the same thing, then you know they're pretty much on point. But some of them may say a few things different, that are still on point that resonate with you personally. So you gotta kind of not just look at one and then say one wrong thing. You like, oh, I don't believe this. This ain't right.
Got it.
Search more than one and then see what at least three of them are saying, and it's like, oh, okay, now I get it. It's for clarity. So this is how you communicate in the house of your book of Sagittarius.
Yeah, and that was
So
actually a retrograde when I was born.
right, and so think about it. So you know we have what love, we have anger, we have how your mind works. You have your outward personality, your soul's purpose. You have your spirituality. You have your fears. You have your um, the knowledge of mysticism. You have your destiny path, how you choose a lover. So the question is, how does that zodiac sign respond in each one of those aspects? Okay,
Mm.
you know that what a sun sign Scorpio is, but what is a sun sign and your anger and aggression? What is Scorpio in anger and aggression?
Mm-hmm.
What is Leo in love and matters of love and Venus? Or what is Pisces in love? Pisces in love is different than Leo in love. So your book and Venus, which is how you seek out a lover, what is the book that was given to you in your house of love? What is that book?
That's
And
Aquarius.
that
I ain't seeking nothing, right?
yours is Aquarius. Well, see, Aquarius have their Aquarius is a reality by itself on how it seeks out love. And
Hmm.
Aquarius seeks out a lover that's intellectual.
Okay, makes sense.
So, but then Aquarius and your sun sign is totally different because that's not dealing with love. That's your outward personality, how the world sees you and views you. But you may be attracted to a man that's very intelligent because of your Aquarius and Venus.
I only have intelligent men around me. Okay, that's just
All
it.
right, then let's go. Let's go with that. All right.
That's just part. That's just part of the orbit for me.
As far okay, right. See what I mean? So that is Aquarius and Venus speaking, people. We just heard it.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to study your books. That's why a lot of people. More and more people have gotten into this whole zodiac thing, which is
Oh yeah,
good.
yeah.
It's good because I remember when it was looked at as being taboo.
Oh man, you
You
could,
know,
especially if you were a church going person. You better,
woo!
yeah, come on. Don't you dare.
Can't
That's the
tell them
witch.
nothing.
No, that's witchcraft all day long.
That's the devil. It's witchcraft. It's
Hmm.
hearsay, but
And
it's
at
a
the same
science.
time, they were all going in the back room saying, "Do my reading so I can know how what I'm supposed to do today." Right.
Or on a basic level, you ask them what's their sign, they proudly tell you their sun sign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm an Aquarius. See, that's the Aquarius in me. But you don't believe in all that.
Right. But you know it, but you don't believe in it.
But you know, right, and you quoting it,
Mm.
proudly. So, but yeah,
Now, what difference does it make in me knowing? Uh, so I have these books that I need to learn about myself. Now, do I have to then learn about the books that a potential partner? Is that something you study during the time of dating? There you go.
well, every time you interact with any human being, you're visiting their library and they're visiting yours.
Mm.
And so for me, there's a certain level of curiosity because I love my books. I love reading my books
Mm-hmm.
and I don't lend my books out.
Mm.
I keep my books in my library because when you lend your books out, they don't come back the way you gave them
They sure don't. If they come back.
if they come back.
Hmm.
That's why some things that happen in you or your journey is a secret, not meant for everybody to know what you're going through, or not every little thing.
Yeah,
And
not many big
that's
things.
why
Right.
they're called reference books.
Mm.
The reference books don't leave the library, do they?
No, they don't.
They
You can
don't.
only use them in the library. You have to check them out in the library.
You
Right.
can only check them out in the library. You can only you're right, but you can check out any other regular book,
Mm-hmm.
and you check that book out, and anybody can use that book. So that book can be handled by many hands. But a reference book, you got to do what? Stay in the library, meaning stay inside yourself, and you can only read it in the library.
Now, that's pretty hard to do, Samir. I mean,
What? Read a book in the library?
no, to stay
What?
to yourself.
Yeah, well, that depends on what's placed in you. So you got a book like Gemini, which are known to be chatterboxes, but Geminis are also highly intelligent and very, very creative. But they're very expressive. Most Geminis are extroverts. And so for a Gemini, depending upon where Gemini is placed at in their chart, it may be hard for a Gemini to sit still and study themselves. But for someone like a Scorpio or a Capricorn, oh, they don't have a problem at all sitting by themselves or being in their own company and studying themselves.
Well, my moon
Because
is in Gemini, so I have to force to sit still sometimes. Well, not really, because I'm an introvert. Where is that? I have to study that because that's interesting, isn't it?
that's an interesting combination, isn't it?
Yes, because I enjoy being by myself, but I do like to move around.
And you like to interact with people.
Well, on occasion,
Yeah, on occasion.
yeah.
But
People,
people are drawn to you.
that is true. Hmm.
And so but when they do come to you, you engage.
Yes. And that was a deep thing for me to get because I grew up in a family that that made me feel like I was repulsive, if that makes sense. So it was
It
always,
makes a lot of sense.
yeah,
So you
get away from
that
me. You leave me alone. Get so I learned how to spend a lot of time by myself. So now when people are seeking me out and and people say, "Oh, you're popular," that doesn't register with me. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
It doesn't.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's not my comfort zone, I should say.
Right. Because that's not what's in the pages of your book.
Right.
That's a personality type. That's how you're wired.
That's how I'm wired. Yeah.
That's how you're wired. Those are the books in your library, and those books are big. They have so much depth. You think of cover to cover or a particular size, but those books are so vast. It's like an ocean.
Mm.
Each one of these books is like an ocean. And you can experience the shallow waterness of the ocean by the shore where the sand and the water meets, or you can go all the way out far as you want to and still remain on the surface, or you can go as deep as you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's all up to you, or what has happened to you, or what your life path is, or what's your purpose, or why you here. And everyone is free to go as deep as they want without something happening to them, just because you want to know. That door is open. That swimming pool or that ocean is always accessible by you at any point in given time in your life. You have children, you have saints. Allah blessings to them. You have saints 7 years old, and they were saints and talking about very powerful and have reached high levels of spirituality and knowledge, that's not common on earth or whatever.
Yeah.
So you have like Shana Bond, for instance. He was born without any veils over his eyes. He was created 20,000 years before any other saint was created. And so, 7 years old, he was able to speak on this at the age of 7. So, your books, some people have powerful books, powerful realities. And it just depends on your purpose here. You know, everybody has a purpose. Einstein had a purpose. Even Hitler had a purpose. You know,
No matter how we judge
Mike.
the purpose, it was still their purpose.
Yeah, everybody had a purpose. The homeless person on the street talking to themselves, they got a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, them being homeless and in that condition, and you walking by or driving by and happen to see them at that moment, was all part of the living art that's always moving and changing with nothing ever out of place.
Mm-hmm. So now, okay, we've talked about life, the birth card. We talked about the day, the birth card. So each one of these is giving us it's more than turning the page. It's like every one of these books have several chapters before we even get to the next book. We have to finish, or do we have to finish, or can we learn all of these simultaneously, or what's the best way?
These books don't close.
So they're all 24/7.
They're 24/7, even in your sleep.
Mm-hmm. Each one of them.
Each one of these books are open all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
You can be present in all of your books all at once.
It's interesting because just as I'm looking at Lilith, Pisces. That's what my mother was Pisces. And isn't Lilith like the dark side of female energy or something like that? How would you explain Lilith? I shouldn't say the dark
Well,
side, or because all females are considered dark because we can hold so much. You know, we're the creative force, which is always dark.
um, that's part of your book. But what is in what book were you given in your Lilith? Hello?
Say that again.
What book were you given on your Lilith? What book do you have in your Lilith?
It says Pisces.
Pisces. Okay. So Pisces is a water sign. Pisces is very emotional, but emotions um, are very powerful. So you're going to have a lot of emotional darkness, I would imagine. But again, you have to go to different sites where people study this more extensively when they get into the different, they may not categorize it or label it like I just have as a book or an ocean
Mm-hmm.
that's always open, but you can see what does the reality of that ocean bring of Pisces and your Lilith,
Well,
because that's a dark side of Pisces. So Pisces has a communication side, it has a outer appearance side, it has a mental side, it has a love side, it has an anger and expression side. You got Pisces and a dark side and the Lilith side. So how does Pisces express itself in Lilith? Like Pisces will express itself differently in Mercury, which is communication. Pisces will express itself differently, or it's a different reality aspect of it in another house. So, from your
Well,
experiences, what is your part? What is your Pisces and Lilith been like?
um, hmm. So it's very interesting because most people don't know how sensitive I am. Most people would not even guess that I was as sensitive or have as much depth of feeling. So, I guess that's that water. The depth of Pisces is that water.
That's that Pisces in you. Yep. You have a very soft heart.
And when I look at that, my mother, again, my mother is one of the most generous people I ever knew growing up. And not that she had much to be generous with, but whatever she had, she was sharing. She was,
Right.
you know, she would, somebody would say, "Can you give me this?" She go borrow some money and get a person somebody, you know. I was like, "Well, why would you do that?" She said, "Because they needed it. I don't need it." You know.
How is where is your Venus?
Remember that was Aquarius,
Venus is in Aquarius, and then your Mars.
Sagittarius.
Very interesting.
Was very interesting with the Venus, Aquarius, and the Mars and Sagittarius.
Well, Aquarius is known as the water bearer. Aquarius are known for doing a lot of crying, although they are air signs. It's the water bearer because they do cry a lot.
Oh my
And
God.
so and
That's
so the way your Venus, how you seek out love, is in Aquarius, which is the sign that cries a lot.
But how is that helpful? Jeez. Ooh.
So that may
Yeah.
explain why you've had pain in love and seeking out love, and there may have been plenty of tears behind
Well, I one of the things that I remember so much about my teenage years, I'm talking about starting at 12, like going when you're pre-pubescent and then you go into all that. I cried so much by
it.
myself, and no one ever knew I was crying because I was always alone. And that was because I didn't have a mother or father. I was always,
Right.
I could, if something happened to me, that's what my missing was. Like, who can I go tell? Most people go talk to their mother, their father. So I would cry. So you dared on about that. That's interesting. See, most people don't know that I cry a lot.
Right. Well, they do now.
Well, the people that have studied with me, they always know. Oh, here she go with the tears.
Right.
I mean, that's one
The
of the
tears.
things.
Right.
Right, right, right. Musha Sugu, she gonna have us crying in a minute. You know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, and probably the Capricorn in you, which is more of a stoic nature and a loner type nature. And then you have Scorpio rising, which is a very loner type nature. Didn't want other people to see you cry.
No. Mm-mm.
So you did a lot of crying, but you did it in private. And that was because of that Capricorn sun and then that Scorpio rising.
Mm-hmm. I also have Scorpio in the North Node. Now, is
Oh,
that
very
the
interesting.
ASC node? Is that the what we call the ASC node on your chart?
That
Ascend-
means ascending.
Is that the ascending node or no?
Yeah, that's ascending node, which means that's the lesson you're supposed to learn while you're here.
Lord, have I learned it yet? How old do you have to be when you you done?
I see now here you go.
Because my first husband was killed when I was 25, and he was a Scorpio, and that was before I had any of this knowledge.
Right. Right. So then what when you it'd be interesting to know if we revisit this show again what would be the type what does Pisces and Lilith add to your reality, your overall personality? What component of it out of the 19? What puzzle piece does it fit in and add to it? So it's like if you got a car, you got your doors, how the doors look on the car, how the tires look on the car, how the headlights look, how the grill look, how the windshield look, how the seats look on the inside, what color are the seats, are they heated, do they recline, what the steering wheel look like, what the stick shift look like. So what part does Pisces and Lilith and uh, Scorpio in your ascending node add to your personality? I'd be interested to know that.
But you know what I'm present to as we're having this conversation is that my youngest granddaughter is a Pisces. She looks like my mother. I
Mm,
mean, same
mm.
complexion, long hair like her, and then she looks like me. Everybody says, "Oh, but I look like my mother too, though, right?" So I get to literally interact with the preciousness of my grandchild, but feeling the essence of my mother. Is that deep or what?
Yes. And so it would be interesting to know which part of you all's charts all had the same signs in them.
Okay, so I'm gonna write that down because you know I go visit my grandbabies regularly,
Right.
and my
I
son
mean,
loves this kind of science, right?
right. So if you took the grandchild that looks like your mother and your mother and looked at all three of you all's charts, what would you see?
Mm, okay, I'll do that homework.
Yeah. I would be very curious to hear that one.
But I think that was such a beautiful observation to just get. That really, I mean, we are given everything that we need to fulfill on our mission if we
Yeah.
stop and read the book, which is ourselves.
Yeah. Which is yourself. And you have 19 books to read. I'm
Mm.
sure there's probably more, but let's just say on a basic level, you have 19 or 20 books that you can read from. You got 19 books that are all right there. All you got to do is read them.
I think the probably the boldest part is my Leo. My Uranus is in Leo or Leo. What do you say? Leo and Uranus. How do you say it? Uranus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're Leo. You have
Uranus.
You have Leo in Uranus.
Yes, and then it's retrograde.
Okay.
So that's a lot of heat because that's fire on both sides. Because Uranus is considered hot and Leo too, or
I
fire.
didn't know Uranus was considered high. I know it was a big blue planet. Uh,
Well, uh,
or is that Neptune that's blue?
well, Neptune is watery, so it might
Yeah,
be.
water. Okay, yeah, so Neptune. So Uranus, yeah. And they say Uranus also has some rings too.
Mm, okay,
They discovered rings. That was years ago, like in the 70s, I heard that.
so that means that emits a lot of energy
Oh,
too.
that's when they discovered it in the 70s.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I can see that with that Leo that gives you that because Leos are so bold and brash to me. They are just when I am in the company of Leos, I just like to sit and watch them.
Leos are some very interesting creatures.
Yeah.
They're usually prisoners to their own ego and don't realize it.
Oh wow. Well, one of my favorite mentors is an ego. I mean a Leo. No, he's
hmm
absolutely fabulous.
I mean, to some degree and extent, we all are prisoners of our ego.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the goal is to break free. You study these books to know how to break free of, it has so many mysteries to it. You know, all of them have positive and negative aspects. Um, how you perceive something, or if you're vain, or if you're selfish, or you're jealous, or if you're vindictive, or you're naive, or you're strong, focused, determined, business minded, resilient, you know um all of the books contain good and bad aspects of them, and you can experience either good aspects in the book, especially depending upon where it's placed and then what has affected you externally, and how you reacted to what affected you externally because of how far you were in your books and what type of books you had and where those books were placed.
Mm, okay. Man, so if we pull up the 19 charts and we pull out our natal chart and then use Google, because you told me to search something on Google. I want to do that so people can hear what that was. What did you tell me to search? You told me to search my Mercury and Sagittarius. So let's do that. And I like to use DuckDuckGo as my search engine.
No tracking.
No tracking. Don't be sending me no commercials. You know what I'm saying? So it says Mercury and Sagittarius. These individuals are optimistic, forward thinkers who have a way with words and love learning anything and everything. They love to travel, see new places, and learn about other cultures. They may often appear to be on the go or highly restless, especially if they are not involved in some sort of philosophical pursuit that keeps them engaged and active. They are natural born healers because of their curiosity to know how things work, plus their ability to communicate the findings effectively to others. Okay, they hit that nail right on the head.
See,
I mean, don't you think? I mean,
yeah, that's you to a T. And guess what? Guess what?
what?
That wasn't about Capricorn and Sun,
That wasn't about Capricorn the Sun at
right?
all. That was
No,
Mercury in Sagittarius.
exactly. So now let's do something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do your life path number.
Oh, my life path number. Okay.
Go to lifepath.com.
I was going to say, what do you use? Okay.
Yeah.
Lifepath.com. Let's spell it right. Okay. You have to do some. Wait a minute. You know it's Mercury retrograde right now, so you know the computer sometimes does its own thing. It's like you gonna wait for me. Let's see. Let's go that way. Oh, that's because it's .org. You hear me?
Okay.
All right. So
Scroll down, put in your birth date.
down, 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 down. Nope, I sure did do the wrong one. Oh, it still came
Yeah,
up .com.
let me look this up.
Yeah, look it up because I don't know why it keeps coming up. It comes up with my. Oh, there we go. Nope. It comes up with .org, but that's not what we want. Lifepath dot nope. Oh, numerology.com. Can that work? Samir, this one is how to calculate your how to calculate your numbers. What is your life path?
Can you?
Yeah, so let's put in my birthday.
It's seventh lifepath.com.
Okay.
Seventh. Go to that one. That one's I have found to be the most accurate.
Is it seventh spelled out or the number seven?
The seventh spelled out with a TH. Seventhlifepath.com.
There you go.
Okay.
Here we go. There we got it. Okay. That looks more familiar. So now I'm going to put in my birth date and my year. I hate that I have to scroll so far down. It's like, really? Y'all didn't find another way to do this to bring up all your insecurities, right? How far do you have to scroll? Okay, so the result is your life path number equals 8.
Okay.
Your life path, okay, okay, you learn more about the number 8. Let's see. Those with life path number 8 tend to be a better judge of character and attract the right kind of people to work with you toward your vision. This makes you a natural executive and excellent in the business or political arena. You have a need for success and a strong desire to be recognized for your achievements. This leads you to not feel safe unless you have found a way to establish financial security. And because you are more likely to consider status important, you may be tempted to live above your means. You should also pay special attention to telling and showing your loved ones that you care. Being a good provider isn't the only way of doing this. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Some of that's right, some of it's not, because I'm a minimalist at best.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to work for money.
Right.
And most people don't get that, but do you? I am completely opposite of most people.
Right. Well, that's why no one thing can be completely 100% accurate because it's 19 things that make up you. So it's going to be some slight yes and no's here and there.
Oh, this is good. It is difficult for an 8 to take advice. When they make a choice, they must feel it is their decision, not someone else's. As a result, they do tend to learn the hard way. Now, that's true all day. Although I'm better.
Okay. And so uh, you're on seventhlifepath.com.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a they give you a free chart calculator, and then it says click on. So it tells you what numbers you're most compatible with, right? They have these bars.
Mm-hmm.
So the longest bar I'm most compatible with is the Life Path 4, and the bar that I'm least compatible with ties with 7 and 9.
Mm.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, so that I think it would be great to get a group of people together and actually work with them through this system. Is that something we could create? Because I mean, I can't imagine somebody just doing this work on their own.
It would be a lot of fun because it would be a sharing and revealing of what's in each person's own individual library that's unique and indicative to them.
Yeah.
So, like God says, I created you different, not that you may despise one another, but get to know each other.
It's said,
So,
said, huh?
what God said, I created you different so that you don't, so you can get to know one another and not despise one another.
Okay. Hmm.
So, it takes more than one book to build a library.
That's right.
So how limited it is when people only speak of their sun sign. Well, I'm a, uh, I'm a Leo, or I'm a Scorpio, when it's actually 19 things that make up who you are. So with all your books and how much you study from your books, you come to the group or the gathering, and everybody's sharing what they learned, and there's you're learning from their books as they're learning from your books, because it's the same 12 books. It's the same 19 books. It's just you all have them in different placements.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think that would be a lot of fun.
I think so too.
Yeah, it would be really fun. It would really be revealing, to say the least.
So, if you are listening to this podcast and you would be interested in being part of a group to study how to use the 19 behaviors of your personality, give me a call at 773 969 6211. Again, that's 773 969 6211. And leave me a message and let me know that you would be interested in participating. Leave me a message and also leave me your email. Wow, that's pretty deep.
Yeah. So there you have it. Each you have 19 oceans to
Mm-hmm.
choose from, and all 19 oceans uh, connected and make up the one ocean of who you are.
Very good. All right, so that's I think we went through. Oh well, the last one that people may not uh, be as familiar with is the primal.
The primal is actually the 20th of, but because it requires the combination of your sun sign and Chinese sign to make it, then that's why it's only 19, because it's predicated upon two of the oceans, or two of your books, or two of your signs combined to for it even to exist. So the primal sign is your sun sign and Chinese sign combined equals another sign, which is an animal sign. And so that makes it the 20.
And so, is it found on you on as primal astrology? Come what?
Primalastrology.com, and you can go to love combination or sign combination, and you can see what your two signs equal, and close out the ad, because the ad is going to pop up immediately after you do it. So do not click on the ad, because then you'll get lost.
Oh,
So click X the ad out, and sometimes they get clever and they don't have an X button on there. So just hit close if you see the word close. But in the upper right hand corner, you or left hand corner, you may see the X. Exit out, And after you exit out, then scroll down to your sun sign and your Chinese sign combined and see what other sign that makes and click on that and read about it. And
Okay.
it's at primalastrology.com. And it's good to know your Chinese sign, learn about your Chinese sign. You know, there are 5 elements. Are you a wood, fire, water, or earth, or metal? You know, in your sign, you know. So mine is monkey. So I'm an earth monkey. But you have water monkey, you have metal monkey, you have fire monkey, you have wood monkey. So each one of those elements in that Chinese sign is also different. Study your Chinese sign and you'll see how accurate that is. But your Chinese sign and your sun sign combined makes up your primal. Study the Enneagram. That's E as in Eric and N as in Nancy twice. ENNEAGRAM. EnneagramInstitute.com. Find out your personality type through the Enneagram. Find out your life path number on seventhlifepath.com. Seventhlifepath.com. Um, know your destiny cards, and put in your birth date and find out what your destiny, your birth cards are, and what your cards are daily for 52 days and yearly. But find out the meaning of your birth card. You can go to Ruth Haddikin, Ruth Haddikin, Hadikin, Ruth Haddikin, and find out your rising sign soul's purpose. And Cafe Astrology, find out your neonatal chart, but don't click on the time you were born.
Now this is interesting because in the bee, in the description of the bee, I'm just a social bee. I'm just a bee. I'm just flying around, visiting all the flowers, you know.
Right. But the thing about the bee is if the bee doesn't pollinate, then the plants die.
Mm.
So that's what Master Force does. It pollinates. And by you being January 2nd, I remember we discussed in previous shows, January 2nd, which is the Queen of Spades. So therefore, your destiny card, which is they're all connected. So that's one ocean connected to another. That will make you the queen bee.
Mm. Hmm. But I don't like this description. They may wait, this description may make those born under the sign of the bee sound like the slaves of society. But this is not correct. If anything, bees are slaves to themselves and those close to them. But even that is misleading. Members of this sign thrive on their ability to create, manage, and improve their surroundings. They are extremely hard workers with a strong sense of pride and honesty. They take their role in life very seriously, perhaps a little too seriously, and will make whatever sacrifices are next necessary to reach. I guess that's it. What?
Mm-hmm. You see that?
Yes, I do. I see that. And it's good. It's all good. I mean, it's very interesting that you bump up against, you know, like what you like or don't like. And the universe doesn't care if you like it or don't like it. That's not the issue.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's like anything else. I don't want to go to school.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to read this book.
Mm-hmm.
How long? How many chapters I got to do? What's the homework on? The book contains the reading, the enjoyment, the adventure, the story. It contains the lessons. It contains the homework, everything. Each one of those books, which is an ocean, contains all of that in it.
Wow.
And there's no ceiling to it.
No ceiling at all.
Yeah, you don't, you graduate from certain levels of it, but You can you graduation is continuous in these oceans.
Okay. Well, you certainly have given me and every time I do go do the work, but it's like, and there's more to do, and I've been doing this work for a long time, and then there's still more depth to reach.
Well, the whole point of it is when you learn how to swim, it's fun
Yeah.
because that's a navigation.
Mhm.
So the whole point is to reach higher levels of peace and happiness in yourself.
Yes.
It's not that you're stupid, you're dumb, or you focus on what's wrong in your life and you think it's a result of you not knowing something in your book that was given to you or something you got to learn, and it could be that, but that is not the intentions for you to be depressed or sad. The intentions is for you to learn this so you can be happier
Mhm.
because you have more understanding, you have more clarity, you have less confusion. You're empowered with the knowledge of you.
Boy, that'll certainly give you. It actually goes back to, I don't know if you heard my radio show that I did with on Xavier Fox's Let's Talk About It with Xavier Fox. And a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about what does profound security look like, right? This is a part of having that profound security.
Exactly.
You
It
know
is.
these aspects of yourself, so you're not worried about what other people are doing or saying about you.
You know, and it is like a fortress because although you can invite people in at your will, you're in complete control. You can keep somebody out at your will.
Yes.
Like if you know there's certain things that you don't want revealed or that you know you shouldn't reveal or they won't understand or they're not going to get or they're not ready to know, or just because of the fact it's personal, you just don't want to let them know. You don't have to share that part of your book with them. They don't have to swim in that ocean with you.
Mm-hmm. The same way for years, you used to ask a woman her age and you were not going to get it. But now
No,
everyone freely gives their age,
right,
because
right,
people are feel more empowered, and people are healthier and they look young.
right.
Yes.
They look younger and they're proud to say they're this age and still look this good.
That's right.
Yep, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But you see the growth.
Mm-hmm.
That was an agreed upon ideology that everybody were exercising in their books.
Mm-hmm.
That was it wasn't even necessary. That was just a societary culture at that time.
Yes. But now it's like, hey, you know, I love being who I am no matter what the
Yeah,
age. Yeah.
yeah. People like that lady that's in her 80s, that's a bodybuilder.
Oh, come on. And so inspiring.
Right. So inspiring. And, you know, people want to tell you their age now because it's a testimony.
Yes.
And now what you're really saying is at this age, this is where I am in my books.
Listen, we are already in the throes of planning my 65th birthday party, and I'm telling you, every time I hire somebody for them, they say, "Well, you're talking about a few years." No, baby, 3 months. We on it,
Right.
and I love that. You know, yeah, I love it simply
Yeah.
not just because of my age, but I didn't think I'd get past 30. So here I am about to be 35 years beyond that. So that's huge for me.
Right.
Yeah, that's a wonderful place to be.
But that's a blessing. Well, I'm glad to know the queen bee who has the master force hive.
I got the beehive.
Got the beehive.
All right, brother Samir, do you have any last thoughts as we sign off for today's podcast? Now, you got to let me know if it's something else we need to add to this, and I will be contacting you about this group because I think it'd be great to have a study group with these. Now, how many people do you think we should let into this?
As many
First
as that
one.
want to come.
No, no, no. Listen, yeah, it can't be as many because it's hard to manage all those people. We
Well,
get a good
if you
number.
want to, for purposes of keeping it simple,
Well, next one can be big and they'd have to pay, but this first one is, we have to do the test pod.
well, I feel like whoever's going to be attracted to it naturally are the ones that we want to be there in the moment present, who are willing to join in and have all that type of good energy and everything. So for me, it's just whoever. But um, I don't know. I guess we could probably start off with, we have you and I, so maybe three more people, make it five.
Okay, so if we do 5 people, so okay, so let's not count you and I. So we'll let 5 more people in and make 7.
Okay, that's fine.
So we'll let 5 more people in. Okay.
Because if you don't want it, because my next number would have been 19.
Okay, we can do 19. Just because
Okay,
you left the stay with 19, we can do 19. 19, and this will be a Zoom, right? We'll facilitate this over Zoom at first.
we can do it in a Zoom. That's fine. But let's keep it simple and do seven. Then we go to 19.
You're so funny. Okay. I've erased it, and now we're back to 7.
Seven. Yeah.
All right. And again, if you want to participate in this study group, we're doing 7 now, and it'll probably take us until next year. So
And this is September, the middle of September. So we have October, November, December. That's 3.5 months from now.
okay, good. All right, good. That's why you didn't laugh because you did a different type of math than I did. Uh,
Right.
right. So give me a call, 773-969-6211, and leave a message and let me know that you would be interested, and also leave your email address. That way I can send out a message to, several people at one time. Okay? Very cool.
That's fine. So to wrap it up, I would say that the book contains everything you need. So it's just like with the art, with the whole picture of the art. You ever seen a child that may not have been so attractive when they were born, and then when they got older, they became extremely attractive, either very beautiful for a woman or very handsome for a man?
Absolutely.
Have you seen children that were born just beautiful, flawless, but as they got older, it faded out very fast? And
Absolutely.
you've seen that, right? So the ugly contained the beauty, but you couldn't see it, and the beauty contained the ugly, but you couldn't see it.
So it depends on which one, what, they expand?
Well, it was always there. You just couldn't see it.
Mm,
So just like every poison has a cure, and in
absolutely.
every cure there's a poison.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sickness. So in the problem is the answer.
Mm-hmm.
So in each one of those books, it can go either way.
Mm-hmm. All right, because then the next step is how do we get this information to the young people so that they can begin to decipher their lives and their purpose at an earlier age?
Well, the thing is that people follow the crowd, so they have to see a group of people doing it, and they want to have to join in. They don't want to feel left out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to get the youth is to see it to be. They see that everybody else is in it, and they don't want to be the ones left out.
Okay.
So if the older people start doing it, and then that number of older people start going into the people younger than them, and then that group of people younger than them, then it'll be a thing that everybody is on it. And of course, the youth don't want to be the ones that's late on anything. So they're going to be the first to jump in on it. But they got to see a certain amount of people, a certain type of people doing it in order for them to jump in.
Yep. That makes sense. That's what they mean by the masses following, right? They
Right.
not the original. But it
Hmm.
doesn't matter, as long as because we're giving them good stuff to follow. We're giving them good information.
Yeah, yeah, but it's good because more and more people are getting into this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a beginning, it's an introduction, but then after you tell them this is not it. This is not solving their problems. This is not giving them all of the answers because some of that stuff you got to find out as you experience it. And we can't tell them all the answers because then that's not part of their growth. We can give them a bulk of the answers, and then what they do with it is based on them. But there has to be something in place after this, and then something in place after that, and so on and so forth, in order to keep their attention. You may grab it for that moment, but you got to keep their attention. So, how do you consistently keep their attention? You got to always keep having something more and more.
Yes. I can hear that. And right now, everybody's attention span is being poured towards whatever social media is high
And that's part of the grand picture that's never out of place.
on. Aye, aye, Captain. All right, all right. Well, thank you. As much as I sound exhausted, don't it? But I'm not exhausted. It's just like this is so much information. And with that kind of information, there's so many other questions that come up, but you can't even go to the questions because you want to study what you just got.
Right? Yeah. It's juicy because
Yes, it's
it's like
juicy.
it's dripping with that good sauce and that meat
Oh
falling off
man,
the
come
bone,
on.
right? And so for me, I love to learn. Period. I just love to learn. I don't care what it is. I love to learn, and so when something blows my mind,
Mm-hmm.
I got to share the explosion with other people.
I can hear that.
It's fireworks every day for me.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, it's stuff coming to me all the time, and it's like, okay, who man I'm getting ready to blow with this? Oh, let me call Moosh and say,
Mm,
let me
yeah.
call her. Moo, guess what? Listen, listen.
Now you don't go guess what? You go, wow! Woo!
Right, right.
Guess what I got to tell you? You ever be on the
you
edge of
know,
my chair? Can you just tell me without all that anticipation?
right, right. Oh, I call Xavier up,
Right.
and I'll be like, hey, Xavier, you ain't gonna what?
Yes,
She
the same way.
what?
You trying to make
Say
it
right, yeah. I
like, can
call
you
my
just
brother
tell
up
us?
and we discuss it. Or one of my friends, whom
Right.
at some point they may want to visit on your podcast. Brother Noor and brother Wahid. We get philosophical like you and I do on these podcasts.
Well, we may need to have what the three of y'all on here and put up a topic. That would be
Oh,
fun.
let's do it. Let's do it. Let's make that the next one. Patiently waiting for nothing, and that'd be one of the podcasts we do. And I'll try to see when they have time for about an hour or 2 hours, and we get on here and chop it up.
I would love that. That would be exciting.
Yeah.
I was just meeting with some of the coaches, the brother, the male version of the coaches, and
Oh yeah.
we're talking about what can we do to support men and being able to do their work
This is true.
because most men don't have the same amount of time as women do to do their work, and women they're impatient with that. Some women
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are starting to really realize either how normal they are or how cray cray they are.
I don't know if there's such thing as normal. Are you serious?
Well, when the abnormal define normal, you will never know what normal is.
Mm.
So the abnormal is defining what's normal, and that's why there are so many abnormalities in existence.
Yeah, and they're trying to make it like, well, it's supposed to be like this. No, it's not.
Exactly. No, it's not. It's not normal. It's abnormal, but the abnormal are defining normal.
Yeah, I got that.
So,
All right. Well,
but
I will
it's
put that.
normal to them. So,
Yes, I will put that on the agenda. And we've just had a wonderful 2 hour conversation about astrology and relationships, but actually deep into the 19 behavior codes of our own personality, opening the
yes,
books to ourselves. I think that's a book there for you to write, Samir.
it's possible. Shoot, people keep commissioning me to write books. I
Well,
like
your
I'm
time
related
doesn't.
to
Yeah, right.
right. But yeah, I mean, I that would require. I don't want to give people something very basic. It would require me to do more studying so I
Well,
can
you
make
have
the
not
book
been
more
basic
fulfilling.
in these conversations at all, so I don't know why that would be a worry. Okay.
Well, I mean, hey, no manhood and arrogance, so I'm not trying to be
I know,
arrogant about
I know.
anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I would write a book like that, at some point. Yeah, it wasn't on my agenda, but now that you've mentioned it,
I
yeah,
I think it's needed because the reason I say that is because when you write the book, they can put it in the classroom.
well, that's true too. So it had to be a work study book.
Or a book that they can use and work from. Yeah. Yep, so. All right, everyone. Thank you, thank you. We have come to the end of patiently waiting for nothing. And we're glad that you tuned in. And we are asking you to look forward to our next podcast when I believe we will be talking to some brothers, men. I've been asked not to say kings because not everyone is a king. We do know that those are titles, but that doesn't mean that their soul is there. Okay? So
Mm.
look forward to our next podcast, and we will put that date out there as soon as we know. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening or whenever you're listening to this. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Love you. Bye.